The YouTube video Persuasive Speech on Being a Hero by George Schooley was done very well. There are a couple things that George can improve on in his speech. These things being verbal and nonverbal communication. First, we will talk about verbal communication. The problem with George's verbal communication happened in two areas. The first area being articulation. According to the textbook, A Concise Public Speaking Handbook in Chapter 18.1, articulation is the process of producing speech sounds clearly and distinctively. George did not speak clearly in some parts of his speech. He can improve on this by practicing the words he has the most trouble on. The second being rate of speech, which according to A Concise Public Speaking Handbook in Chapter 18.1 is rushing through a speech and is a symptom of social anxiety and speech anxiety. I believe George has speech anxiety. I believe this because he rushes through parts of his speech. This can be improved by practicing his speech and maybe even in front of a family member or friend. Second, we will talk about nonverbal communication. George also has a couple problems with his nonverbal communication. The first being eye contact. He was very good with eye contact, except he kept looking down at his cards. This caused him to lose track of where he was in his speech. This could improve by simply getting to know your speech better and by practicing it multiple times. The second thing would be gestures. George used a bunch of hand gestures in his speech. According to Chapter 17.2 of A Concise Public Speaking Handbook, it is best to avoid minor hand gestures because they may distract the audience. In conclusion, George needs to work on his communication skills. He can improve on this by practicing and becoming more familiar with his speech.